She told him about Jide's confession and how he had sheltered her. "I don't know what to do, Kunle," she whispered, leaning onto his shoulder. "Everything feels like it's falling apart." Kunle held Titi in silence for a moment, letting her emotions settle. "Titi, you don't have to go through this alone," he said gently. "I've always been here for you. I always will be." Titi pulled away, wiping her tears. "But what am I supposed to do, Kunle? My marriage is falling apart. And you're asking me to leave him for you. I am confused." Kunle looked into her eyes, his expression serious but soft. "I won't pressure you, Titi, but I meant what I said before. I love you. I've loved you for years, even when you were with Jide. And if you give me a chance, I will make you happy." Titi felt a mix of emotions. The stability Kunle was offering felt comforting. But at the same time, her heart was heavy with the wreckage of her marriage. Could she really end it with Jide and start a new life with Kunle? The next morning, Jide's behavior changed drastically. He was more attentive, cooking breakfast, trying to engage her in conversation. He even played with Toby, something he hadn't done in weeks. Titi watched him cautiously, wondering if this was guilt or something else. "Titi," Jide said softly after they put Toby to bed, "I don't want to lose you. I know I messed up, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fix things." Titi stared at him, her mind racing. A part of her wanted to forgive him, to believe that they could rebuild what was broken. But another part of her, the part that was still raw from the betrayal, wasn't sure if she could trust him again. "We can't just go back to how things were," she said, her voice shaking. "You broke something, Jide. How do you think I'll trust you after this?" "I'll prove it to you," Jide said, taking her hand. "I'll go to counseling. I'll cut ties with her completely. I'll do anything. Please, just give me a chance." Titi didn't answer immediately. She was torn between the desire to hold on to the life they had built together and the weight of Kunle's words pressurizing her heart. "Divorce him and marry me." The idea still lingered. The next few days were emotionally exhausting for Titi. She found herself caught between Jide's sudden effort to mend their relationship and Kunle's quiet but constant presence. Every time she saw Jide trying, guilt gnawed at her. He was the father of her child, and they had shared so many years together. But could she truly forgive him for breaking their marriage? On the other hand, Kunle's voice was in her ear, reminding her of the possibility of a fresh start. He had been supportive, never pushing her too far, but always making it clear that he was willing to build a new life with her. When Titi looked at Kunle, he saw security, warmth, and a love that had always been patient, waiting for the right moment. That night, she had a long conversation with her best friend Funmi. "Titi, you can't rush this decision," Funmi said. "You have to be sure. If you forgive Jide, it has to be because you want to, not because you feel obligated. But if you leave him, make sure it's what you truly want." "But what about Kunle?" Titi asked, torn. "He's offering me something different, something I never felt with Jide." Funmi sighed. "Kunle loves you, but don't jump from one relationship to another because you're hurting. Take your time, Titi, no matter how hard it is." Jide followed through to his promise. He enrolled them in marriage counseling, scheduled regular date nights, and started being more present in Toby's life. For a while, Titi found herself softening, remembering the reasons she had fallen in love with him in the first place. One evening, as they returned from a counseling season, Jide held her tightly. "Titi, I'm not perfect. I made a mistake. But I promise you this. I will never put you through this pain again. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you." Titi's chest tightened. The sincerity in Jide's eyes was undeniable, but the scares were still fresh. Could love really conquer everything? Even as Jide tried to rebuild their marriage, Kunle didn't fade away. He remained patient, never pushing Titi, but always there when she needed him. His text messages were simple, checking in on her well-being, offering to meet up if she needed to talk. They occasionally met for coffee, and each time Titi felt the pull between her past with Jide and the possible future Kunle was offering. One afternoon, after a particularly emotional counseling season with Jide, Titi found herself sitting across from Kunle at a quiet cafe. "I'm trying, Kunle," she said, stirring her cup of tea. "But I'm so confused. Jide is making an effort, and part of me wants to believe he can fix things. But on the other part, it feels like too much has been broken." Kunle leaned forward, his gaze steady. "Titi, no matter what happens, I will support your decision. If you want to stay with Jide and give him another chance, I respect that. But if you decide to walk away, you know I am here. You desire to be happy, and that's all I want for you." Titi looked at him, her heart heavy with indecision. Kunle's words were comforting, but they didn't make her choice any easier. She was standing at a crossroad, unsure of which path to take. As Titi continued her inner battle, something unexpected happened. One evening, while helping Toby with his homework, she noticed a shift in Jide's behavior. He had been acting more secretive again, disappearing for hours under the pretense of work. The changes were subtle, but Titi could feel it. Something wasn't right. Her suspicions grew when she accidentally found a new phone hidden in Jide's briefcase. It was a burner phone, with only a few contacts listed. Her heart raced as she scrolled through the message. One name stood out: Amaka, the same woman from the hotel. Titi's hand shook as she read the recent message. "I miss you. Can we meet again?" Titi's words shattered once more. All of Jide's promises, his efforts, had been a lie. He hadn't cut ties with the other woman. He had simply hidden it better. Her chest tightened as she realized the extent of his deception. That night, Titi confronted Jide with the phone. "You told me you would stop," she said, her voice trembling with rage and heartbreak. "You said we'll never see her again. Yet here you are, still sneaking around." Jide's face went pale as he saw the phone in her hand. "Titi, I can explain." "Don't," she cut him off, tears streaming down her face. "I am done, Jide. You promised me, and you broke it again. I don't deserve this." Jide slumped into a chair, defeated. "I am sorry, Titi. I don't know what is wrong with me." But this time, Titi wasn't interested in his excuses. "I don't care anymore, Jide. I am leaving. I will speak to our lawyer tomorrow." For the first time in weeks, Titi felt a strange sense of clarity. It was painful, yes, but she realized she had been holding on to the idea of who Jide used to be, not who he has become. The man she once loved had changed, and no amount of counseling or promises could fix what had been broken. She called Kunle that night, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. Kunle, I've made my decision. Kunle's voice was calm, but there was a hint of nervousness. And what have you decided, Titi? I am leaving Jide. I can't keep pretending that things will get better. He has betrayed me again, and I've had enough. There was a pause on the other end. Then Kunle said softly, I'm proud of you, Titi. You're choosing what's best for you. The next few days were a whirlwind. Titi packed her things, arranging to stay with her sister Lola until she had figured out the next steps. She didn't want to uproot Toby's life too drastically, so she planned to ease into the separation gradually. Jide was devastated, begging her to stay, promising once again that he would change. But Titi's resolve was firm. She couldn't go back, not after everything she had uncovered. As she packed the last of her things, she looked around the home they had shared for years, feeling of a mix of sadness and relief. It was over. A week later, Titi and Kunle met again, but this time things were different. Titi was no longer torn between two worlds. She had made a decision. Kunle could sense the change in her, the way she carried herself with a new sense of purpose. Titi, Kunle said softly as they sat in his living room, I want you to know that I'm not rushing you into anything. Take all the time you need to heal. I'm just happy you're free to make the choice that is best for you. Titi smiled at him, grateful for his patience. Thank you, Kunle. I don't know what's next, but I'm ready to start a new chapter. Over the next few weeks, Titi and Kunle spent more time together. Slowly, they began to let go of the pain Jide had caused and found herself enjoying her moments with Kunle more and more. They went on simple dates, shared quiet dinners, and talked about everything and nothing. It felt different from the chaos of her life with Jide. With Kunle, things were easy and peaceful, but Titi was still cautious. She had just left a marriage, and while her heart was beginning to open to Kunle, she didn't want to rush into anything serious too soon. Kunle understood this and gave her space, always supportive but never pushing. One evening, as Titi was preparing dinner for herself and Toby, she heard a knock on the door. To her surprise, it was Jide. He looked disheveled, like a man who had lost everything. Titi, please, I need to talk to you, Jide begged. Titi hesitated before letting him in. She didn't want to be drawn back into his web of guilt and manipulation, but she felt it was necessary to hear what he had to say. I've lost everything, Titi, Jide began. You, Toby, my peace of mind. I know I've made terrible mistakes, but I need you to give me one last chance. Titi shook her head, her voice firm. Jide, we've been through this. You had plenty of chances, and each time you broke my trust. I am not coming back. The separation affected Toby more than Titi expected. At first, he didn't understand why his parents weren't living together anymore. He often asked when they would all be together again. Titi tried her best to explain the situation in a way he could understand, but it was hard seeing her son confused and hurt.